All right. Hi, hello, and welcome to Data Center State of the Union. The need for sustainability, security, simplicity, and insights. Now, today's exciting webinar is sponsored by Pure Storage and Cisco and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Jess Steinbach. I'm a moderator with Actual Tech Media, and I am so excited to be here with all of you today on this beautiful Friday as we cover what is new, what's exciting, what's trending, all the best things that you want to know about data centers. And the very best part is we have some incredible experts and leading innovators here with us today to help us explore all of these cool things: sustainability, security, how to automate, how to simplify, how to scale, everything that's on your mind as we wrap up this year and start looking ahead to 2024. I know it's that time already, but it is the perfect time to step back and take a minute for a State of the Union conversation. I know that you are going to get a ton out of today, so grab that trusty notebook and pen if you're old school like me, or get out your Word doc or wherever you like to take notes. Make sure you've got your coffee at hand, get comfy, get cozy, and get ready to jump in. All right, now to kick us off today, we're going to start with a very quick tour of your audience console. I want to draw your attention over to the question section. So that's where we're going to start. So take a look at that question section of that console. Now, this is the best place to get involved, get interactive, post all those insightful questions. Hey, your comments, your feedback, your ideas. We absolutely want to hear from you throughout the day today. All of that is happening in that handy dandy questions window there on that console. And in fact, you can give it a little bit of a test run out there today. I see some highs and hellos. Well, hi on back to you all. Oh, from Colorado, we've got Texas, we've got South Carolina, Dallas. What a crew. All right. So I'm glad you guys are all alive, awake, alert, and enthusiastic out there. Keep those highs and hellos coming. I love seeing that from all of you. Now, if you are having any technical issues today, knock on wood, of course, but if those tech gremlins get you today, give your browser a quick refresh. That's going to clear out any of the usual problems. Browser refresh, step one. If that doesn't work, step two, shoot a message to the Actual Tech Media crew right there in that questions window. We will be there to help you out. Now, the last thing I want to point out, it's actually right next to your questions tab, is the handouts tab. There's some great resources, takeaways, follow-ups, so make sure that you spend some time exploring that handouts tab. And if you see that little icon on the bottom of your screen, you know already that it is not just awesome content we are giving away today. We also have a $250 Amazon gift card as a prize drawing at the end of our webinar. Now, of course, you do need to be in live attendance during the webinar in order to qualify to win that gift card, and all winners must meet the Actual Tech Media prize terms and conditions. If you're not sure what those are, don't worry. I don't have those memorized either. You can head back on over to that handouts tab that we were just chatting about. Click and scroll down to the bottom and you will find the full terms and conditions waiting for you there. So give that a click if you are curious. All right, just catching up on all the highs and hellos here because I see all you wonderful people coming in. Nevada, cool, Tatiana. All right, hope you're having a beautiful sunshiny day over there in Nevada. All right, my friends. Well, that is it for all the housekeeping. Let's get our expert speakers on out here with me. I am so excited to introduce you all to Brian Farrer, FlashStack Solutions Marketing Director at Pure Storage, and Doug Uechi, Global Senior Technical Solution Architect, Cloud Infrastructure and Software at Cisco, and Eric Blonda, Alliance Executive at Cisco. Brian, Doug, and Eric, thank you all so much for joining us today on this beautiful Friday. I can't wait to dive into our conversation. We are here. We are with you. We are ready to rock. Now, Eric, I think you are going to kick things off for us today. So I will step back and hand the mic on over to you. Take it away, Eric.
Thank you, Jess. It's great to be here. I am Eric Blonda here at Cisco. I'm a strategic partner manager, joined by Doug and Brian. Doug, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I will, Eric. Hey, my name is Doug Uechi. I'm a technical solutions architect for Cisco, specifically focused on FlashStack solutions.
And I'm Brian Farrar. I'm from Pure Storage, and I am specifically also focused on FlashStack solutions.
All right.
We are indeed. Yeah, thanks, guys. This is an exciting opportunity to get caught up on what we're calling the State of the Union here, and we were talking earlier together about the chance to check in with each other across different perspectives. Certainly, Cisco's a big place, Pure Storage is a big place, but among the three of us, we've really been focused, this data center context, in the work that we do together and the solutions that we create together and bring to our customers through our channel partners. But FlashStack has been a great business for both of us. It's been really meaningful for customers. We've got over 4,000 FlashStack customers now, and we couldn't do any of it without our channel partners. If there's any channel partners out there that are watching, we appreciate the opportunity to work with you each day as we drive customer success. So thanks for being here. Some of the topics that we have are new topics that we wouldn't have been talking about even, in the last year or so. Topics like AI and some more sustainability efforts. But some of these topics are just kind of good old-fashioned staples, right? Which have evolved over the years to take on new meanings and different talent and different business outcomes. And I think one of the first topics is just like that, right? What is leadership asking of IT today? And every time we've thought about this recently, working directly with our customers, a lot of the work that I'm doing is helping IT organizations transition from cost center, right? We spent so many years in this space trying to manage the cost of IT to really, it's 180 degrees on the compass now, that the leadership is asking IT to deliver on innovation, right? Differentiated innovation. The opportunity to provide a competitive advantage is uniquely IT, and even have a direct customer-facing impact, right? The so-called digitization of our business over the last several years. Now more than ever, IT is a really opportunistic place to shape the business, which is kind of great for those of us who have been doing it long enough to appreciate what a fantastic opportunity that is. And Doug, I know with the time you spent recently on some of the projects you and I have been working on, we've seen that firsthand, right?
Absolutely. One of the things too, and I'll hand it over to Brian here in a second, is this. It's not just about innovating. The whole environment has changed. We heard 10 years ago, we talked about cloud, and cloud became everything in the cloud, which became hybrid cloud, and the changing of the environment as we even speak. These are the challenges that IT is facing with how to operate in this new environment. Brian, do you have any comments for that as well?
Well, I think both of you are right on. We've long in IT, we've long wished for that proverbial seat at the table. And now we have it, and now leadership's asking us to deliver more than we've ever had to deliver before. And with that comes not only a plethora of new solutions. Eric mentioned AI at the beginning. We're seeing containers come on. There's new security challenges. We've got to deal with all of that, but we also have to deal with it now in an environment where costs are constrained and resources are ever more constrained. So the idea of defeating complexity with more efficiency is critical. And there's no way we can respond to all those leadership requests for new solutions, new services, new economic models without becoming more efficient and more automated. And I think that's one of the advantages that our mutual solution, FlashStack, brings to customers. Absolutely.
And if I can add too, it's not just about supporting applications and keeping them running anymore. The things IT is being asked to do are corporate-wide initiatives, everything from security to sustainability. It's no longer something that we're just putting something on a platform and delivering it. There are so many other factors that go into play.
That's right, Doug. Yeah, it's not just your CIO that is wanting results. It's the CFO now. It's the CEO. It's the stakeholders. And they're looking for competitive advantage in business results. Exactly.
Yeah, way more than the sort of the service provider of the business, if you will, and the difference between handling a service request versus the level of urgency that can be brought to IT is significant, right? And what leadership wants is execution, fast. and quick adjustments. Not necessarily the historical traits of IT, but that's what's driving, the solutions-oriented approach that we're taking, this sort of CI/CD model that we want to maintain, and just operating the environments that we support together. So I think it's a great thing. It's great to see the evolution, bringing IT to a place now where it is such a significant component in the everyday work lives and personal lives that we all maintain.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things, the next topic is the opportunity for simplifying infrastructure, and the opportunity to simplify is to change the paradigm in which we operate, and that is being driven by, Doug, you mentioned moving workloads to the cloud and the cloud-based operating model, but being able to run in a software-defined environment that's simple and automated and helps support that cloud-like operating model, whether we're running our infrastructure on-prem with our customers or supporting infrastructures that are running workloads in the public cloud. Either way, we have moved to this software-defined model. And Brian, I know you've been a big part of taking our traditional validated design model and moving it into the context of something that is not only software-defined operationally, but even supporting some deployment mechanisms that are scripted, automated, and ideal for the transition from day zero to day one.
That's so true, Eric. The world has gotten much more complex, and I don't talk to a customer who's not in a hybrid and cloud environment. It is ubiquitous, and with that comes ubiquitous complexity. The only way to deal with that is to automate it with software-defined capabilities, and that's one of the unique features, I think, of FlashStack, and particularly the Cisco Intersight management layer, is it gives you that full stack observability. It gives you the ability to manage your entire environment holistically, but because it's software defined, it can discretely manage any particular layer. So, Pure Storage, in our case, if you've got a DevOps team that needs to burst into the cloud for more capacity, Intersight can make that capacity of Pure Storage available to that team. It's all about having the resources available so your constituents can be productive, and so there are no disruptions. And with shrinking IT staff, software-defined is the best way to approach that challenge.
If I could add this too, Brian, I think the reality of the situation too is with the advent of the cloud and us being able to log into a browser and manage things from this one place. Everything is software defined. I define my compute, my storage, my networking. The idea of us sitting right in front of the desktop or the server and putting it in, that's completely changed. Everybody talks about a cloud operating model, and this is what we're talking about. I want to log into one place from anywhere and get to that. So whether it is looking at my security stack, whether it is looking at how I'm doing backups and protecting my data, or integrating things like even virtual machines and containers, it's all software defined. And the more that we can bring that together for it all to make sense across multiple platforms, that's what we're shooting for here.
Yeah, not to sound like an old fogey that I am, I started my career with AT&T in network management. And I can tell you our network management environments looked like NASA. There were screens everywhere, and every application, every layer of your infrastructure had its own unique management tool. And you were constantly trying to balance the needs of one against the others. And it took a whole team to manage that complex environment. And here we are so many years later, I won't say how many years, but complexity has actually increased, but the tools to deal with that complexity have also matured and gotten so much better. And, Intersight's a great example of that from Cisco.
If I could add one last point while we're on this topic, and that's also what makes automation so much more important, right? We've got all of these software-defined systems. How do we put best practices into play where they are consistent? And that's where automation comes in, Brian. I know we're going to talk about that near the end, but when we talk about software-defined, automation is a part of that, and we need to not forget that.
Great point.
Yeah, Doug, we've kind of built this opportunity with our solutions to make them so repeatable, where we find when customers invest in our solutions like FlashStack, they're customers for many, many years, because it may be that particular deployment will get repeated in other locations. That particular deployment can get repeated for other applications in other environments, but having it be so software defined and so scripted allows for that repeatability. So we've really learned how to create the right assembly, but on that assembly run that repeatable process. And it's been great. I've seen customer communities develop scripts that get shared across industries, and it's just kind of been that great way to see some traditional models get expanded to run in so many new ways. But in doing so, as much as we built this repeatable process and we've gotten really good at rolling out, multiple environments and reducing the time it takes to bring that service to market, right, on behalf of the business, the more we do that, the more power and cooling and everything else that goes into, the more applications require more resources. And lo and behold, I think, we sit in a place in the industry and in the world where, we can point to data centers as among the top consumers of power. And there's more to sustainability than just power consumption, right? But again, to use one of those kind of historical examples, I can remember responding to a customer RFP, and one of the primary components that was included in the response was the kilowatts per tile that we were proposing in the data center. And the reason for that was not because of a corporate green conscience. The reason for that was, at the time, and for a long time, because we could only pull so much power into a data center. I can remember being in data centers that were half empty, not because we couldn't fill the room with equipment, but because, this was in New York City, Con Ed couldn't pull more power to the data center. We were out, no more. And so I think we started all those years ago being very conscious about the power consumption, and which gave us an opportunity, where we are today, to not just be focused on power consumption and building more efficient systems, but getting so much better about kind of just-in-time deployment, right? Only turning up resources when it was necessary, and building elasticity into a model that can really only consume what it is we need. But I know you guys share a ton of perspective as well, and Doug, you shared with me a couple of weeks ago a story about one of the customers you were working with who was trying to meet and maintain some sustainability goals. We at Cisco have our own sustainability goals, and Pure does as well. Mm-hmm. What have you seen as far as our opportunity to differentiate in this space, and what's making the biggest difference for our customers as we kind of build sustainability as a core component in our solutions?
Well, Eric, sustainability is huge, and I am not a sustainability expert. I'll say that right now because it covers a lot of domain. But as an IT person and as a data center person, I have the keys in my hand of being able to control the power. And you said it, Eric. It's not just about efficiency. It's about when do we roll out things? Can I get power when I need it and use it when I need to, versus can I roll that out whenever I don't need it? And I can have a direct impact on the organization's net zero goals, whatever that is, because of how I can control and manage that. And in some of the products we have built in the FlashStack, X series is designed for that, right? I'm not just adding another rack mount server when I need it. It's not convenient to power those things down, but I'm also taking the power and the networking and the cooling and putting that into a place where I can see and I can control it all. So I'm reducing my data center footprint. I'm making it more efficient. Efficiency is important. Usage is important. And while there are a lot of other factors that go into sustainability, it's the single most controllable factor in the data center, and that could make a huge impact. Brian, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
You're so on track, and this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart because I'm doing this from Austin, Texas, where cattle and cars contribute tremendously to our carbon emissions, and it turns out that data centers also contribute 1 to 2% of all electricity usage. So it's not just the old demons of cars and cows. Now it's data centers and storage. My area in particular consumes about 25% of that data center electricity, data center usage. But the happy point about this, and you guys, I think it was Eric, you touched on it, the happy coincidence of this is that doing the right thing is now also more profitable. And that's when you get substantial change. So we have customers that implemented FlashStack that have reduced their data center footprint in an East Coast data center where square footage is expensive by 85%. And they cut their electricity usage in all their data centers by $1 million in the first year. And so that's straight to the bottom line savings. And, it's easy to be more efficient when you do that, when you have those kind of savings to justify your efforts. But you also, Doug, you touched on the X series flash UCS, and that's, of course, part of the new FlashStack. And I want to say what a nice job Cisco has done redesigning FlashStack from the ground up to be one of the most sustainable platforms you can buy in the industry. New power supplies that are more efficient, new cooling designs that are more efficient, different fan architectures. The density alone in a UCS and in a Pure Storage, that alone reduces your footprint and your electricity. But we're also doing all kinds of stuff. Both companies are committed to reducing e-waste. And, sometimes it's as simple as more recycling packaging, which we're both doing. But it's also processes. I grew up in data centers where we always had a big box of spare cables. No one knew where they came from. You always wound up, it's like the IKEA thing. You always wind up with the extra screw. You wonder, where the hell was this supposed to go? And those cables use copper and they're expensive. And now we make every cable you need accessible and available, but we don't ship them to you unless you need them. And that's a simple process improvement that also complements the incredible design and architecture of the FlashStack. So I'm really proud of what we're doing together and really proud of how we're working with customers to reduce our carbon footprint.
Yeah, we should be. We've made great strides in that area, and I can't remember. I think Brian said it. It's the responsibility that we have in the business that we're in to continue to maintain that, because we're all trying to meet the goals of our organizations as well as that of our customers. So thanks for the chance to check in on that.
And I also say, new solutions like AI make energy savings even more important, because those are becoming, as they're becoming more popular throughout mainstream data centers, electricity usage is only going to go up dramatically. So it's important to take this into account and to look for ways to be more sustainable.
Understood. And I'm not sure, if we were having this conversation even a few years ago, if security would have played as big a role in it as it does. This seems to be a kind of a cumulative topic for us, where security is becoming more embedded, more pervasive. as the threats become more distributed and ever changing, right? So because we do sit so close to the applications and so close to the data, sort of if you kind of think about this ring fence mentality for security, the closer we can apply the security to either the threat or even the victim, the data in this case. Brian, I always love being at a trade show where you're in the booth using some terminology around snapshots that I have to go look up because it's a term that's new to me, but I know it's familiar to you. When it comes to ransomware protection and what Pure is doing in this space, it's having a partner like Pure so that we can have these solutions be as protected as they are is a really big point of value for us.
Well, it's like the slide says, it's no longer a matter of if, but when. An example, my wife works in the healthcare industry, and they are among the most targeted of all organizations because they know you're in a life and death situation, you have to pay that ransomware ransom. And it's funny, they have at her hospital, the IT organization has their own emergency code. Like code blue, they have their own code that knows that something's going on for the IT team. It's a brave new world, and it's been, as we have seen, in the popular media, we are now also being victimized by more and more sophisticated attacks, state-sponsored organizations. These are no longer, the teenager in a hoodie in mom's basement. These are very sophisticated corporate structure, IT hacking organizations, and you got to be protected from that. And you mentioned the snapshots, Eric. Yeah, we offer immutable snapshots, and those are free. All you have to do is turn them on, and that encrypts your data. So worst case, if the bad guys get to your data, they can't unencrypt it. You need a key to do that, and Pure maintains the key for our customers. I know that there are other immutable snapshots out there, and I will advise customers, if you're using them, I have seen one manual that says, give your admins the keys to that. Don't give your admin the keys to your immutable snapshots, because the first place hackers are going to go to is your admin accounts to try to find those keys. So at Pure, we keep that key for you, and we unlock your data if worst case it's unrecoverable. But we also believe in what we call a layered security approach, or what we defense in-depth approach. And we've partnered with Cisco on that because Cisco has some of the best cybersecurity solutions in the industry. And I know, not to embarrass you guys with the wealth of your capabilities, but our own federal government consults with Cisco and leverages Cisco for white hat training and support. And one of the things I love about the FlashStack environment is we talk about layered defense. We advise customers, use the Cisco solutions for your network security, for your proactive security from data center core to network edge. Use that security cloud from Cisco because it's one of the most robust security suites in the industry. And you guys are always adding to that. Every time a new threat is discovered by somebody like your Talos team, you immediately build those fixes into the solution. Then we also have best-in-class partnerships with best-in-class security providers like Veeam and Cohesity and Commvault, who do rapid recovery, backup, and restore. And it's important that you've built that into your data center operations, because once you get to needing your immutable snapshots, frankly, that's a reactive approach, and that's a last stage. We'll protect you right up to the end, and we'll keep that data safe and encrypted. But ideally, you stop these guys before they get into the system, and you stop them quickly, because the breakthrough time, the time from when they get into your system to when they actually start doing malicious behavior, is dropping every year. It's down to about 79 minutes now. And so it's important you have systems that are proactive and react quickly to those attackers. obviously very passionate about this subject.
Well, you covered it. You covered it well, Brian. And I'm thinking to myself, what do I say to that? I think also one of the things that's a reality of what we live in right now. No one size security solution fits all, and it's a matter of getting a framework in place that I can build and customize what I need for security and have all the tools to do that for visibility. And I can implement my security footprint the way I do, customized for me. And one of the powers of FlashStack and CVDs is I've got that baseline. I've got it ready to go. So if I need to add XDR, Cisco for visibility, man, I can put that on there. I can already have the tools in place with snapshotting, with logins, with the ability to segment networks, with Nexus. All of that stuff is really already in there, and I just need to build on that, put my best practices into play, and know that it is running on best of breed hardware and software, and move forward from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. And I've been in this role working with Pure for a few years now. One of the kind of the most opportunistic undertaking that we've had is to build a FlashStack with a subscription model around consumption. And there has been, all the work we're doing is important, but the subscription opportunity for infrastructure on the
I think I can jump in here a little bit. Eric sounds like he broke up, but yeah, we've been working together very closely on subscription offers. And it's another one of these fulfillment of promises that we made many, many years ago. I remember starting out in the industry and seeing this exciting video where somebody just plugged into an outlet for IT. It was delivered in a metered service as they needed it. And it seems so incredible. And lo and behold, here we are finally able to deliver on that promise. But I've also been surprised there. I was in Europe last year talking to a European customer, very excited about our subscription offers with FlashStack. And they said, nope. We only do CapEx. And I realized, of course, the beauty is not only in the subscription, but in able to provide the right economic model that meets the economic goals of the customers. So if you want to use CapEx, if that's how you've structured your environment, there's nothing wrong with that, and we obviously support that. But we also support the full stack subscription at the other end. If you want to just pay for what you need in an IT basis and make sure you're not paying for more than you need, and also making sure that you've got capacity on demand when you need it, then a full stack subscription is perfect for you. We also have customers that are dipping their toes in the subscription with their most dynamic asset, which is your data. And so when your data growth is your most dynamic asset, it's often surprising, especially in big application environments, AI environments where you've got very large data sets. It makes sense to maybe start your subscription with just one layer, with the storage layer, for example. And we're happy to do that as well. But the idea here is we want to deliver an economic model that's right for each customer and not dictate to the customer what you should be doing.
Yeah. And Brian, that goes back to even what we talked about earlier with hybrid cloud. I think a lot of the subscription is driven by what we see in the public cloud. And wouldn't it be great to align your financing model just like you've aligned your cloud models as well? And I do appreciate you saying you start in slow and then you come in with this. It's not for everybody, just like we talked about sustainability and security. You need to do it what's best for you and your company. But the nice thing is you can align that very easily. You can take baby steps. You can move that into larger models of subscription and align your financial model and your operating model to what works for you.
Doug, one of the exciting things about a subscription on a FlashStack, though, is Intersight. Mm-hmm. We've talked about Intersight already today with regard to how it manages all the layers of your physical infrastructure. But if you implement a FlashStack as a service, for example, Intersight's also going to be your management console for that. So it's both your economics and your physical environment. We're getting very close to the single pane of glass management that everybody wants. So you can see where you are at any given time against the thresholds that you've set for capacity. You can add capacity. You can even see near real-time billing information right there in the same console you're already using. It's really pretty cool.
Welcome back, Eric.
Yeah, my back. Yeah, thanks for rescuing me there, Brian.
No problem.
This has been some meaningful work, and as somebody who helps drive the partnership every day, I think this is we've got lots of room to work here in the long run. We'll see a lot more subscription. We're depending heavily on our channel partners to help us execute on this, so they're all in as well. Just a couple more topics. We brought up AI a couple of times, and we had our Cisco Partner Summit last week, which we do annually, and I can say that this was a very big topic, one that's top of mind, and certainly part of our State of the Union now. And again, to draw comparisons, remember when the State of the Union in the data center was big data, and big data would solve everything, and big data just being able to sort of harness the corporate resources of all the different sort of data inputs in order to help drive corporate decisions. And we had great success together, right, driving those Hadoop clusters and at the time. And now it seems, we know how to operate with the data, but what if we put the control of the data or the learning from the data in the hands of, or the virtual hands, like the robots using of some really new and differentiated models. There are AI readiness studies that we just released at Cisco, not hard to find on the Cisco website if you just kind of go to look for AI readiness survey. Overwhelmingly, our customers are planning to use AI as a necessary part of their business, but only if in the teens, it's like 14 or 15% feel as though they have any preparations for doing so. So again, one of these gaps, we know we need to, we're not equipped to, but together Cisco and Pure are definitely approaching these types of solutions with, I think there's new workload designs, right, Doug, that are coming to market with some additional partners. I think Red Hat and NVIDIA are part of that as well.
Well, and I also think, just so you know, when it comes to AI, a lot of that, just like everything, is driven in the public cloud. People are building models, they're inferencing, but what customers are looking at, what companies are looking at is, how do I take that and then customize it? How do I take this data set and bring it down? How do I take this particular model and apply it to my business? So whether that's Gen AI or whether it's even a more rudimentary function of AI, you got to start somewhere. Right. And that's where we're headed. You guys, once again, I've said it, baby steps and not one size fits all, because while we're all focused on the coolness of ChatGPT and generative, that may not be the application for everybody. And I think it's key to be able to take that first step into that and bring it internally, just like hybrid cloud. And the second thing is to have something that's pretty much built ready for it. And I think that's what you're talking about here. We're and partnered with the best of breed. We've talked about that too. How do we get best of breed to have the most optimal yet flexible setup?
Yeah, I saw one pundit recently say that the emergence of AI, the AI revolution is what he called it, is going to be as fundamental a change to not only industry but society that the internet was, except more so. And I gotta say, it's kind of hard to argue with that. By the way, I want to swear I am actually a human. I'm not an AI rendered marketing talking head here. We are all, as of today, we're all actually humans. But one of the problems with AI, it certainly has huge promises, but one of the challenges is these are complex environments. These are not for the faint of heart to set up. And I think that's one of the great things that FlashStack and Pure and Cisco and even our partner NVIDIA bring to the table is we simplify the complexity of the infrastructure necessary to even get started on AI. We've got 2 new CVDs for AI that we're coming out with that guide you through deployment of your basic system, gets you up to what I call green lights, gets you up and running so that your data scientists can actually start working faster. I've seen a lot of different data points on the time it takes to get that infrastructure set up, but they all sort of say that it's easy to get locked into 70% of your time or so, getting caught up in trying to just get the AI infrastructure set up, tuned, get the data sets ready, get them in place, moving them across this hybrid cloud environment. And FlashStack for AI simplifies all of that. It gets you going much faster. And the other big thing I think it does for you is it scales to any need. It's popular to talk about the really cool big AI implementations out there. And of course, Pure and Cisco have done many of those together. I'm thinking of some super pods that we have implemented together that scale to gigantic levels. But that's probably overkill and certainly way too costly for a lot of, I don't want to say mundane, but for a lot of day-to-day departmental business level AI decisions that you need. If you're trying to forecast sales, if you're trying to track inventory levels, if you're trying to make competitive decisions and gain quick insights, FlashStack for AI is an easy way to get into that environment quickly and without the risk of inappropriately setting up your infrastructure, of setting up an infrastructure that's not going to be able to deal with the computational load or the amount of data coming through for your AI insights. So it promises to be really cool for customers.
And make no mistake, there is a cost as you get further up. Some of these cloud companies are now renting GPUs, and so you have to take that balance of, all right, do I want to bring that in-house and control some of the costs? And so it's the natural evolution of how things are, right? Hey, we start small, we get familiar with it, and then how do we grow that and how do we apply that, especially with AI? And I think we're in a good position with FlashStack to be able to offer different technologies and different setups and CVDs to what you need.
And the nice thing about doing it within an environment that you're already familiar with, a FlashStack environment, is it simplifies the management and maintenance of these environments.
Yes.
You don't have to have big silos where your AI is specialized and it's over here, but your day-to-day infrastructure and your business operations are over here.
Yeah.
Now, they're integrated. They use the same Intersite Management Console. It's easy for your IT guys to make sure that it's up and running and available for those AI scientists, those data scientists to use.
Yeah, for sure. And as new, as sort of emergent as AI is, and we're seeing this opportunity to capitalize in this market together is tremendous. The last topic here really hasn't changed as long as I can remember. We've been talking about a lot of change, but being able to maintain the level of trust that's required in order to partner effectively really needs to be kept at a premium all the time. So back to security, I mean, this isn't zero trust here. This is all the trust, right? And the trust isn't necessarily, the trust isn't necessarily just between two entities. It's between a lot. It's stakeholders at the customer, it's channel partner execution, it's commitments that we've made as development organizations for integrations, and fortunately that I think we're just continuing to build on the trust that we've been able to maintain, and that just comes with success and dependability and everything else that goes into creating this concept. And I'm sure you guys would agree.
Yeah, if I could add, I think anybody that's on this call and you've been in IT long enough, that partnerships come and go, competencies, and because the nature of it changes. However, the whole CVD and FlashStack concept has been around and it's established for years. And it's one of those things where you've got the best of breed and you've got a trusted partner with Pure. You've got a trusted partner with Cisco. And not only do they align with your goals, their goals as companies align. As we've talked about sustainability, we've talked about the importance of security. That all aligns very well in this partnership between these two companies. And these are both companies separately that you put your trust in, from Talos with Cisco and from what Pure Storage does with their arrays. It is just a very comfortable and reliable solution partnership.
Yeah, it's something I'm really proud of working here at Pure is, how trusted we are as a vendor. It's sad to say, but the IT industry has at times overpromised and underdelivered. There's no question about that. We are an industry often driven by hype, and there's no end of the hype in the IT space. But that said, how do you kind of maneuver through that hype, navigate through that to determine whether or not the vendor you're working with, you're betting your business on, really, is going to deliver as they say? And one of the things we like to remind customers is, you don't need to take our word for it as a vendor. Gartner has put Pure Storage, the same storage that's in the FlashStack, in their upper right-hand corner of their Magic Quadrant for 10 consecutive years. That means Gartner believes not only do we have the best vision, but we have the best capability to deliver to you on that vision. Market growth, Pure has been the darling of Wall Street, and we have consistently and continue to outgrow the storage market overall. All flash price points have become lower and lower as time goes on. The performance that it delivers is valued, and it's becoming more and more present in all aspects of data center and computing. And finally, we like to talk about customer satisfaction. We measure ourselves across their company. In fact, I'm gold on customer satisfaction, and we use the most difficult measure of customer sat called the Net Promoter Score. Our current Net Promoter Score is it bounces quarter to quarter from low to mid 80s. And to put that in perspective, the industry average Net Promoter Score is in the 60s. And many of our competitors are in the teens. So our customer sat, we like to say, is pretty much at the top of the industry. And that means not just the top of the IT industry, but we even rival the most popular consumer brands in terms of customer satisfaction as measured by the Net Promoter Score. And I'm really proud of that. I'm proud of the way that we manage our integrity, frankly, and that we deliver on the promises we make to you, our customer base. And I'm proud of also our business dealings with our channel and how we deliver on what we say. We walk the talk.
And if I could add one thing too, also from a Cisco perspective, I think it's not a doubt. There's no doubt that UCS and the way they continue to innovate with UCS. Part of my role is I have direct interface with the business unit engineers and the partnership with the Pure engineers and Cisco, and both of these technologies are solid. UCS has been around, and they've innovated it with X series, where a lot of our competitors are still struggling as how to get these Intel footprints, how to get these all in, and that's something, that consistency that's there, the continued innovation is what we bring to the table as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we should all be proud of it, and it's been one of the kind of the ability to help us execute in the long run. So don't expect any changes there.
Yeah.
That's kind of the extent of the topics we'd had planned. Brian, I don't know, you might be able to see if there have been any questions submitted or other things to talk about.
There have been, I've been watching, there have been some questions coming in on the panel here that we can see. So let me just go ahead and read off a couple. We've got a little bit of time here. Let me start with this one, automation. You mentioned automation. Can you explain a little bit more about it and what you do with the automating FlashStack?
Hey, mind if I take this, Brian?
Yeah, let's start with you, Doug.
Yeah, I think because I was talking big about it earlier, the whole idea of the cloud operating model and the ability to automate things, and with Intersight, which is the core of what a lot of this is, you can set up with their orchestrator workflows. It's one thing to say, hey, I've configured a server and I've got that, but we want to establish best practices. We want consistent rollouts. And in order to do that, we take our best practices across compute, across storage and networking, and roll those out. And in the context of a CVD, I can easily get a playbook, a recipe that will roll that stuff out. That ability is there. So it's not just about APIs. APIs are great too, because then if I wanted to use Terraform or Ansible, I could do that. If I wanted to use native, I could do that, but you can do it. So hopefully that covers what you needed there.
Wonderful, wonderful. Broke up for just a little bit, but I think
Sorry about that.
hopefully everybody heard the gist of what you had to say there. Another question here is about containers, containerization. What about Kubernetes and containers support in the new data center state of the union? I'll start with that, and maybe Doug and Eric, you can jump in. There's no question containers play a significant role in data centers. It's one of these emerging technologies that simplifies the way you do business, simplifies the way you can either roll out new apps like AI workloads or integrate legacy applications in a way previously not possible. So we really believe in containerization, and that's one of the reasons Pure acquired Portworx. Portworx is a leader in container management, and we actually have integrated that across the FlashStack environments and have a lot of customers using Portworx to manage their Kubernetes environments. Doug, I guess you're running into probably a fair amount of container usage in the customer base.
Yeah, I think so. And I think in this case, this is the perfect example of the partnership coming together well with Portworx and what they do and incorporating it into the stack and integrated into X series. You have that support, right? Whether I want to be virtualized containers or if I just want to be straight up containers, those connections are there and they're integrated, and that just gives you the ability to go whatever direction you want to go in.
Perfect. Another question here. On validated designs. You mentioned the CVDs, but this person is asking: we run a myriad of applications in our data center. How do you support all those applications and all those needs with your CVDs? I'll turn that over to Doug first of all, and then maybe I'll jump back in as well. Go ahead, Doug. That's nice.
Yeah, well, validated designs, the way I like to put it is they're recipes. They're very consistent. And not only do you have just a bill of materials, there's recommendations at every level, on the storage level, on the compute level, networking level, how to set it up for a specific application, whether that be SAP, whether that be AI ML. That gives you what you need, and it gives you a baseline starting point with consistent results. These aren't just, hey, I threw this together. They should all work together. These are tested together by engineering on both sides to make sure that it's running optimally. And if I'm going to deploy multiple applications, especially different kinds of applications, I want to make sure that I'm deploying a model that will execute flawlessly and also get the performance that I paid for getting this hardware. And that's where CVDs come in. They're in depth. They're just not suggestions. There are ways you follow it step by step, and you're going to get a level of performance and optimization that you can then add to and customize for whatever you need. That makes sense, Brian? Did I do that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
And you mentioned SAP. I went up to the Cisco Design Center today. As a matter of fact, I was looking for the SAP CVD, and we developed that CVD, years ago originally for SAP HANA. But one of the things we do with CVDs is we keep them up to date as the software changes. So if you go download the FlashStack for SAP HANA CVD, the date on it is April 2023. So, we keep those current with every innovation that comes out. So again, you're on not only on day 0 deployment, but on day 1, day 2 operations, you're current with the knowledge that we have of the things that we've tested in the labs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's a massive effort. Yeah.
We're just going to say CVD fun facts. SAP was the first one for FlashStack, and the most recent one is actually for containers with OpenShift and Portworx. So interesting bookends based on the conversation.
Yeah, how funny. Hey, we got time for one more question here. I think we've covered it, but it says here, can you tell me more about FlashStack for AI? Well, let me start by saying we announced that earlier this week, I believe, the 7th, and we've got 2 CVDs coming out for FlashStack for AI players. Both of them take advantage of UCS Compute, Pure Storage, and GPUs from our mutual partner NVIDIA. And the idea behind these is that we want to reduce the time it takes for you to get going. We want to simplify that infrastructure so your AI admins, your data scientists can get up and running as quickly as possible. And as we mentioned earlier, we also want to make sure that you can scale as needed. So it's okay to start small with a single project, but then grow that AI infrastructure with FlashStack to meet your emerging AI and business insight needs across the company. And then manage it as you would manage any other full stack infrastructure with the same tools, the same visibility, observability that you get with a standard FlashStack. And we're pretty excited about that announcement.
Awesome.
I think that's really kind of the last question we have here. I want to thank everybody. Eric, you've been a marvelous host and MC for us. Thank you very much.
Sure.
And Doug, I always appreciate the insights you bring to the table. I do want to mention there's a QR code on the screen. That will take you directly to www.flashstack.com, which is a mutual website that Pure and Cisco maintain for our mutual solution FlashStack. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to your local Cisco or Pure representatives, and we'll be sure to get back with you and answer them. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Oh man, well, thank you to all of you, and just a big, thanks, I guess, for inviting all of us to join you, to be part of this conversation with you, and especially for sticking around to get into some of those questions from our audience. Now, I know that we didn't get to all the questions. There was a lot more that were in the queue that we just didn't have time for today, but no worries, because we are going to make sure that those questions get over to the Pure Storage and Cisco team, so you will get answers back. So if you have any last burning questions that you were waiting on to ask, now's the time. Get them in the queue. Make sure you get them on over to our team. Again, Eric, Doug, Brian, what a fun and interesting conversation. My brain is kind of buzzing from all of those cool takeaways, and I'm definitely going to need to go mull them over a little bit and sort through all of that information. And if you're feeling the same way, another good thing that I want to make sure that you know about is, again, reminder to check out the handouts tab. You know, that QR code that we had up at the end there that Eric, Doug, and Brian were talking about, that is actually, we've got the link. If you missed the QR code, hopefully you got it, but if you missed it, we've got the link for you in the handouts tab. So you can head over to the handouts tab, grab that link, make sure you've got that open, saved, get that tab ready to rock. Because again, we go through all of these conversations and we go through all of this information, and it's all kind of moving around in our brain, and it's there and it's front and center. And then somebody's going to ask you a question or send you an email, and all of a sudden your brain's going to switch tracks, and it's going to be really hard to get back on that train track again. So that little tab that's going to, that extra resource is going to pull you right back onto this awesome train of thought that we're on now. And so that's going to be something that you're going to want to circle back to. So make sure you've got that tab open and spend a little time exploring that later. Okay, well, look, you can see up on the screen, so you know what time it is. It is time for prize giveaways. So today's winner of a $250 Amazon gift card, who is here live and present with us at the webinar, is Bernard Wong of Virginia. Bernard Wong of Virginia. Congratulations to you. Now, as always, we will get in touch with you about claiming your prize after we wrap up the webinar, which is coming in just a few seconds here. But before I let you all go, I do want to say, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, a big thank you to Pure Storage and to Cisco for making this webinar possible. A giant thank you again to Eric, Doug, and Brian for taking us on such a fun adventure today as we explored all the coolest aspects of data centers, FlashStack, and what we need to be thinking about in terms of that sustainability, that security, all, the ever-growing needs for security. And then most importantly, that move to simplification, automation, and all of those really cool things that are going to power us up into this 2024 that's rapidly approaching, faster and faster every day. I don't know how time seems to speed up as we approach the end of the year, but here it is. And of course, and as always, my biggest thank yous, my biggest high fives have to go to all of you out there with us today for taking time out of your Friday, taking time out of your morning, your afternoon, your evening, whatever time of day it is for you in the world, wherever you are. You've given some time to this conversation. You've given some energy to this conversation, and you've taken that out of your day. So I'm very grateful to all of you for spending that time with us. I hope that the return on investment for you has been strong. I know that it has for me. There's been so many great takeaways from this conversation, and there's lots to think about and lots more to take action on. So I hope that you will spend some time mulling all of this over today and get in touch with Pure Storage, get in touch with Cisco, and ask some follow-up questions as well. Again, still time to get those questions in our questions window here. Okay, well, with that, I suppose it's about time that we wrap it up and get on about our days. We all have to get back onto our work days or our life days or whatever it is that you're doing today. But again, thank you all so much for joining me here at the webinar. And I hope that I get to see you at a webinar, a megacast, an ecocast, a summit, whatever you've got coming up soon. And until then, have an absolutely beautiful end to your day, your week, and start of your weekend. Thanks all.